Holy comic book movie crossover, Batman! Scarlett Johansson is coming to Gotham City.
Is that dirty enough for you?
ScarJo is, of course, no stranger to breaking the internet, but Black Widow did it again last week when news broke that she was in final discussions for a major role in Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2. And today we're going all in on what we know, what we can reasonably expect, and why I believe that Scarlett Johansson might not be playing the characters most people assume. Now, there are theories everywhere, and sure, they're fun, but I think I may have an idea of where this is actually going, and we'll look at why it could rewrite the entire future of this film series itself. So what world is ScarJo jumping into? Well, Matt Reeves is building a Gotham where characters are grounded, psychologically layered, and deeply human. Here, Bruce Wayne is not a mythic symbol just yet. He's still pretty early in his journey, still learning how to control the fear inside himself and trying to figure out how to draw lines between justice and obsession. We last saw him in The Batman standing shoulder deep in floodwater, holding a flare and realizing that the people of Gotham need more than a creature of the night. They need hope. They need a symbol that brings light. And the Penguin series expanded that world even further, showing us what happens in the aftermath of Carmine Falcone's death and the power vacuum that forms when the criminal ecosystem has no clear ruler. Oz Cobblepot is rising, crime families are repositioning, and the old order is fading and something darker is preparing to take its place. So if the Batman was about the fear of Gotham, then this next chapter might be about the restructuring of power and the predators who move into the void. So now you bring in one of the biggest actresses in all of Hollywood to star beside Pattinson, or maybe opposing him. Her Marvel career is important here, not because we expect Black Widow energy in Gotham, but because she proved over a decade that she can anchor a franchise, shape the tone around her, and bring a sense of lived-in trauma that makes a character feel very real. Audiences already trust Scarlett Johansson. They believe she can be mysterious and strategic and, yes, even lethal. And if Reeves wanted someone who could enter this saga as a presence, who could change the entire board, well, this casting just makes perfect sense then. And the other major revelation that we have here is that Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman is not expected to return for the sequel, at least not in a major capacity, if at all. And that matters because Catwoman in the first film was the emotional anchor. She challenged Bruce, she humanized him and forced him to reflect on where his moral lines were drawn. Removing her from the board leaves a vacancy for the next female force in Bruce Wayne's life. So the only piece of information we've heard about Johansson's character is that she may be a villain or potentially a love interest for Bruce who becomes a villain. Think you know who that may be? Stick with me here. The internet conversation, unsurprisingly, immediately jumped to the likes of Poison Ivy. She's iconic, visually inspiring, and long overdue for modern cinematic interpretation after we last saw her in, well, you know. Johansson could absolutely play someone dangerous and alluring, someone who challenges the natural order of Gotham, but in Reeves' grounded world, Ivy's kind of a stretch unless her mythology is altered significantly. That plant-based biological supervillain concept would probably require a scientific explanation that moves the series subtly into sci-fi. Then there's Talia al Ghul. This one's compelling, the daughter of Ra's al Ghul, trained by the League of Shadows, carrying genius, discipline, and history. Talia could introduce links to a much wider shadow organization beyond Gotham and escalate the scale of Reeves' universe and tie into themes of inherited trauma and moral philosophy. Now, there's no doubt that Johansson would bring gravity to Talia, but we saw Talia on film not all that long ago. Audiences still remember The Dark Knight Rises, and how could they forget her death scene? She doesn't really give me Harley Quinn vibes, so if not Ivy, not Harley, not Talia, then who? This is where my theory comes in, and if you're still with me right now, I want to hear your thoughts as we dive into the character I believe she's most likely to play, because this one is for the true Batman fans. I believe Scarlett Johansson might just be Phantasm. Who? One of the most haunting and beloved figures in all Batman mythology. Known best from Mask of the Phantasm, a character rooted in grief, vengeance, and tragic love. Phantasm is a reflection of Batman himself, a mirror to his trauma, a ghost from the past that forces him to confront what he could become if he surrendered completely to revenge and rage. Imagine Johansson as Andrea Beaumont, or a reinterpretation inspired by her at least. A woman who loses everything, returns to Gotham wearing death on her shoulders, hunting mobsters who destroyed her life. Batman sees someone doing what he can't bring himself to do, killing criminals without hesitation. Vengeance himself is pushed to his breaking point. Phantasm would be both adversary and tragic parallels, and she fits into the crime-rooted tone that Reeves has built in here. No superpowers required. Now, if you're not familiar with her history with Bruce, they dated after Bruce returned to Gotham following his parents' murder, and she brought stability to his life. They got engaged, and as they're about to settle down, she learns of her father's mob connections and flees the country with him, leaving Bruce alone. Her father's eventually killed, and that sets her on a path of masked retaliation. Now, think about where Penguin's in the story right now. What figure fits into a Gotham trying to heal from corruption while predators fight for control? The Spectre and the Knight striking down mob families one by one. A vigilante more brutal than Batman, someone who challenges his code and makes him question if he's truly saving the city or just delaying its judgment. Johansson stepping into that role would be incredible. Phantasm has never appeared in live action, and it would also elevate this sequel beyond the expected Rogues Gallery rotation. Riddler was the ideological villain, Penguin's the power-climbing threat that I'm sure will be a big part of Part 3. Phantasm would be the emotional dagger, the past returning like a blade through the ribs. If she plays Phantasm, then the Batman Part 2 becomes a story not only about crime, but it's about love and grief and vengeance and duality. Batman faces someone who shows him the future he's one bad day away from becoming. That's deeper than romance, and it's deeper than what you traditionally get with a villain. It's actually a reflection. It's holding up a mirror to a conflicted hero. And Scarlett Johansson is one of the few actors who I think could sell that with subtlety and internal fire rather than just spectacle, even though she has proven she can kick some ass along the way. Now let's expand on that. What if Phantasm is not introduced quite exactly as Beaumont, but as a reimagined figure for this specific universe? If you remember from my video a few months ago, I thought there was a legitimate chance that Hush could be the villain for this movie. Hush's history with Bruce goes back long before we met this Batman. So what if this version of Phantasm draws from Hush's backstory a bit to know Bruce even more intimately? A hybrid character of sorts, and yeah, of course it would have to be gender swapped. There's also history between Phantasm and Joker, by the way, and yeah, we briefly met the Joker in this universe as well, so there's a path to travel there if you want to go there. Now, of course, I may just be hyping this up for the sake of hyping. She may be someone totally different, but Phantasm is a character that many fans have dreamed of seeing on screen for decades. She represents one of the greatest Batman animated stories ever told, and this would show fans that Reeves is unafraid to explore all arenas of Batman lore. It's honoring the legacy of Batman by exploring unmined veins of history that could reshape the future direction of Gotham storytelling altogether. So regardless of who she plays, Johansson's not stunt casting. She'd potentially become the centerpiece of all this, and an important part, an anchor, if you will, of the second installment of what I think is a very innovative streak of storytelling that Matt Reeves is on. And here's where we close in on the real heart of this theory. If Johansson plays Phantasm, then you can explore a warning sign for Bruce. She's a cautionary tale, right? She's the reminder that justice without boundaries then becomes vengeance escalated. She's what Bruce could become if he lets his trauma consume him instead of actually then transforming him. She'd be the most personal antagonist that he's ever faced in live action because she's not here to destroy Gotham from the outside. She's the ghost of what Gotham already was and Bruce's past. So where do we go from here? The Batman Part 2 has the opportunity to deliver a villain story unlike anything we've seen in recent superhero cinema, and while other franchises escalate into all these gigantic multiverses and timelines, Reeves' series remains slow and psychological and rooted in the real. Scarlett Johansson entering this world means we're not heading for spectacle. We're going into a place of pain and grief and identity, or at least that's where I hope we're going. So let me know what you think, because maybe I'm just being ultra ambitious here, but I'm genuinely excited about Johansson being in this movie regardless of who she plays. I love the Batman, and Reeves is building a truly inventive universe here. And if she truly is playing Phantasm like I'm hoping she is, then we're standing on the edge of a live-action Batman story with the potential to go down as one of the most emotional and devastating character arcs ever put on film, at least in this genre. The shadows are moving, and the next time we see Batman, he might be facing not a monster, but himself.